to come here and help us realize the importance of this race to the long-term goals of Democracy for America. And that would be the chairman of Democracy for America, Mr. Jim Dean.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for taking time out of your Sunday to be here in the interest of political activism and changing this country, and certainly on behalf of so many candidates, particularly Joe and Ruth. It's really, really important. I just found out about there was a column, and George Will wrote a column that said, "So goes Montgomery County, so goes the United States in 2008. And what better opportunity than to be here today to get more and more involved in this kind of a race, and also to meet some of these other great candidates that are running for office. I have a great job. I get to travel around this country and get to meet with a lot of people who have really decided that it is time for the citizens to take back the government, both at the local, state, and especially the federal level. I get to spend a lot of time with people who have worked, like many of yourselves here, who have worked awfully hard in their own time, and it has just been a great privilege and honor. There's a little bit of a downside. People keep coming up and asking me, "Hey, which one of you guys is older or younger? Howard or yourself?" So finally I was in Seattle and I got introduced to a city councilman who looked at me and he goes, "You look a lot like your father." It was the highlight of my middle-aged life. And I milked that one for about a year, up until 2 weeks ago when I was at the yearly Coast Conference and somebody came up to me and said, "You know, your two sons are doing a great job." So, kind of a humbling experience, but you got to have a sense of humor about this stuff. And you know, it's tough to be in politics. It's not easy, particularly when you're working the way Kevin and so many of you do. You know, you got jobs all day, you got loved ones to take care of. You go home and then there's an important campaign like Joe and Ruth's going on. And you know, you're going to go to a campaign office at night after all of this in the day, and you're going to be handed a list of people to call who aren't necessarily going to be happy to hear from you at 8 o'clock at night. But it is the most important thing that all of us can do to get our values back into government, and especially get our candidates back into government. The days of us televising our way to victory are over. Show me a voter who says they're getting their information from listening to commercials in the last 2 weeks before a campaign, and I'll show you someone who's not voted. But what they are listening to, and what they will respond to, is our entreaties to them, either by canvassing, or by telephone, or by any other way, the work that we do with our family, our friends, our neighbors, and the work that we do to ask a voter, even if we've never met that person before, to consider the alternative, to consider the possibility, the opportunity to have real government, good government in Montgomery County, to hire on a merit-based basis instead of cronyism, to do something about really being thoughtful about the way tax dollars are spent and the way the resources of the county are spent, to reform the system. And for us to make this succeed, we each of us have to commit ourselves, even if it's a couple of hours a week, to please go out and join a phone bank, join a canvass, to ask these voters. If you do, they will respond to that. But there's so many voters that have never been asked. And that is why we went, the Democratic Party went down the tubes for about 15 years, because all we threw at them was TV commercials instead of the substantive stuff that we know we all can do. But it is the hardest part of this business. Politics is a business that's filled with people that are really good at telling you what to do and how to do it, but not necessarily getting the work done that must be done. But we have an enormous, great number of great candidates here and activists, and particularly our candidates of honor, Joe and Ruth, and we've got to support them by hitting the streets and by asking the voters for their help, by offering them that choice, by being the first one out there to ask them respectfully to please consider what is an alternative for change for the better in Montgomery County. So I hope that all of you will consider devoting some of your time. And the other thing I want to ask very respectfully is, this is a fundraiser, and this is going to cost money. And I don't mean money for high-priced consultants or even high-priced TV ads. I mean money for the kind of literature that we need to have out there, the kind of pieces that we need to be able to hand voters so that they have the information they need to do the right thing and to go and vote for Joe and Ruth at the polls in November. and that all costs money. And I hope that you will consider, if you haven't already done so, not only opening up your hearts to this campaign, but also opening up your checkbooks, because they're going to need this to go forward, and it is a tremendous opportunity for all of us here to change the way politics has been done in Montgomery County, and certainly Democracy for America. We don't ask those or make those kind of requests without at least putting our money where our mouth is, so I do have a check here somewhere. Here we go, right here. So let me be the first to start here. Thank you very much. I certainly hope that you will all follow suit to whatever you can do to the best of your ability, again, to help fund this campaign for change in Montgomery County, to help fund something where you've got two great people who, you know, they might have run, they could run for Congress, they could run for a lot of other seats, but they're here because this is where change really starts. And certainly, you know, in our philosophy at Democracy for America, you know, we're about new leadership. We're about bringing citizens back into politics so that the citizens really control the political culture. And that is why it has been an honor for me to be here to testify on behalf of Ruth and Joe, and to try to do what we can to support their campaign. So I'm not going to keep going much longer. I'm going to be sticking around for a while, but again, a special thanks to all of you for taking time out of your Sunday, and please sign up to Canvas, please sign up to Phone Bank, and please, if you can, donate what you can to this campaign, because it's going to pay off and it's a great opportunity for all of us. So thanks so much. Okay. All right. Well, and with that.